All right, you're looking live at the Nasdaq, which was up pretty solidly today, and then the last half of the day kind of sold off and closed down 225 points or 1.50% at 14,778. If you round up, yeah, the volume was a little heavier today, but we've had a lot of volume coming in on the buy side. And if I could just zoom in there, you can see the heavy volume. It snapped a 9-day win streak today with volume. So, a lot of things to consider, a lot of profits. And so people take profits ahead of there's a 3-day weekend. We have 2 days left in this trading week, and there's this 3-day weekend and a holiday week next week. So there's also, tax loss selling to consider. During the first part of the session, though, the Magnificent Seven were the stocks being bought along with the oil stocks, and then they kind of sold off, which makes the index those stocks impact the index. The thing about today is the inverted hammer candle, makes a new high, goes up to about 9% above its 50 SMA. Remember, we talked about that in the previous rally. It got up a little more than 9%, then pulled back. Yesterday it closed 8.5% above its 50. Today it started to rally and got up to 15,069, pulled back. So it's about 9% above the 50, then pulled back. Still closed above the 10 there. 0.6%, 2.2% above the 21. So, you got to expect this. It's still 6.6% above the 50. So, anytime you have a stock or an index that's trading, above the 21 is a strong index. And even if it pulls back to the 50, I mean, that's kind of normal behavior. It's going to pull back to the 50 at some point. We just don't know when. And, it's always the stairs up and the elevator down. But, we've had a long, massive run. I haven't even checked here. Let me do this if you'll bear with me for a minute. So the rally started after 10/26. 2023. So the index is up 17% here in less than 2 months. So, you know, like I told you yesterday, you got to trim a little like a Thanksgiving turkey and just buy your loved ones something nice. We've had a nice rally. Don't give it back. Trim some. I'm gonna get to that here at the end. And today's day is a good day for self-discovery of learning who you are as a trader and investor. And it's going to be part of your personality that makes up that composition of who you are and what you want to accomplish in the stock market. The Russell 2000, let me see here. How did you do today, Russell? Oh my God, that is a nice bearish engulfing candle with an inverted. But you could see, 2 days ago, what was that, Monday? It closed near the lows and rallied back up. So this is a pretty volatile index. And, I wouldn't, just because we have that inverted hammer doesn't mean it's going to go lower, doesn't mean it's going to fill that gap at 1948. But it could. We have earnings from Micron out tonight that look pretty good. So we'll just see what happens. Take it one day at a time. There's a lot of things going on towards the end of the year with, like I said, tax loss selling. People want to get rid of their losers. They want to buy their winners. And, it's just a funky time here. And a lot of people, not a lot of, some people I know just sell completely out and start the year fresh, especially if they've had a good year. Anyway, I'm going to get off this topic and go to the Mag 7. I talked about them. Oh, excuse me. I do want to show the Dow Jones Industrial Average because it too had this inverted hammer, made the high. This is an all-time high for the Dow Jones, made the all-time high and then pulled back. And there you can see it on the weekly. It's, down 0.5% on the week, but I'm still well above its 10 and 2.1% above the 21. So, the Dow Jones looks pretty healthy. You got to expect them to, there's going to be some selling at some point, folks. And here's Apple. I have this on our ready list. You can see the, nice cup with handle pattern, pull back today. Closed just slightly below its 10. Yeah, so this looks pretty good here for me. This is Apple. And maybe it won't do anything until, the first of the year. That's very possible. Microsoft, another Dow component, just trading sideways. I mean, pretty much flat on the day. The index was down, what did I say, 1.5%. This is down half of that. So just trading sideways. Like I said, the year-end trading stuff is it gets quirky. Google, I got to show this on the weekly, but this is a nice move today. They had news closed near the low of the session, still up 1.24%. So yeah, you can see this consolidation here, and Google looks pretty good near a buy point. That's why I don't think these things are going to sell off much because they're set up in bases. Meta had broken the new highs and then pulled back today, pretty much flat on the session, 0.31%. Amazon, another one made a high, then pulled back, still above the 10. These things look fine. Tesla, I have on our ready list and just pulled back to the 10 today. It's in this double bottom base pattern. That was down nearly 4%. But we just got to take it one day at a time. That's all. NVDA was near 500 today, 499.99. I guess you can't get closer than that. And then pull back to its 21. You can see that inverted hammer candle there. So it's just a tick above its 21. Anyway, NVIDIA still to me, it looks pretty good. You can see it's up after hours on that Micron report. All right, I want to get to a couple of sections and I want to talk about some selling strategies here. Somebody asked about Dreamfinder Home because I talk about homes all the time and I don't mention this one, but it sure looks good. It's a inexpensive stock. You can see it's a $3.3 billion, so it fits in that small cap area. You can see the consolidation here, and then it blasted hard the last two sessions. So that looks really good. Dreamfinder Homes, the building residential group is really strong. You can see it breaking out to new highs here after this 18 weeks of consolidation. Look at all these weeks of buying on that right side of that base. So Dreamfinder Homes looks good. DHI, which is DR Horton, yeah, just traded flat today. The home builders were up and then sold off with general market weakness. I mean, pretty much flat in the session. That's Pulte Homes, and then I believe Builder was down a little bit more. Yeah, nearly 2%, but you could see the breakout now trading flat. And if they break out and then come back to that pivot area, you'll still want to keep your eye on them, especially if it coincides with the moving average. So keeping my eye on that group. LPG, I'm going to go to the oil and gas stocks. They were getting some love today with the Magnificent Seven early on. And you could see the rotation into this oil and gas and energy complex. This is one of the leading stocks. You could see it sliced this 21, now has rallied back up. I don't know, what, eight sessions in a row. Just pretty much flat on the day, but showing strength. Weatherford, the same thing. It was up strong and then closed near the lows of the session. But this is building a base here. It looks pretty good. I like it above the 193 level. Sting, STNG, which is Scorpio Tankers, another one that broke out of a big base. Pull back slightly today, and kind of like to see that, if it's going to pull back to that buy area, I'm interested in that. It's up nearly 5% for the week and pull back 1% today, but got to get closer to that 59.32 or at least below 60 level. So that's Scorpio Tankers. KGS is an IPO stock, and you can see from the IPO, it just ripped up and then formed this big base and now pulled back today. That should be on my ready list. I don't like adding, at this time, heading into the 3-day weekend, there's going to be sellers out there. But it's definitely one to keep an eye on. That's a Kodiak Gas Services, and it's a spinoff. I just I don't have it at the tip of my tongue right now. And the other one is Sunoco, SUN. This is a refiner, and you can see the base here, consolidation, it's been ripping higher. So that one's showing strength, up nearly 5% this week. And yeah, she's gone. That's not going to be on the ready list. Just showing you that, there's a rotation into these groups. JP Morgan, the banks, there's rotation into financials as well. These are the bigger financials, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. I'm not really interested in those. They're just, big kind of banks. I'm looking more at the smaller, more regional banks. This is HBAN, Huntington Bank Shares. You can see this stage one emerging from these lows, and that's kind of what these smaller stocks are going to do. This is an 18 billion market cap stock. It's not that small, but smaller than Wells Fargo or JP Morgan. Another one that I'm looking at, Western Alliance. This one is a, less than 7 billion market cap. It broke out of this little base here. Now it's forming this little shelf pattern. So that one looks good as well. And if you're, if you're thinking the small caps are going to do a little better, and I'm gonna have a whole list of them that I think are going to do well in 2024, and I'll share that on the site. As the new year approaches. This is Zion Bank, another regional bank here. 6 billion market cap, broke out. Now it's kind of forming this bull wedge pattern. So that looks pretty good as well. I wanted to get to some of the software names because a lot of people were crying about, oh my gosh, there's a rug pull and there was so much selling. This thing's up from 122 to 200, okay? So it was up 80 points. So it pulled back $4, big deal. This still looks really good to me. It always reminds me, your most recent buys are going to be your first sells, right? Because you bought it down here and it goes down $4, no big deal. But if you bought it here at the breakout, at 185 or whatever, now you're sweating it, so you can't let a profit turn into a loss. So I get that. Snow is another one. Like I said, your most recent buys are probably going to be your first sells. This is Snowflake. Pretty distinctive cup with handle here. Pull back to the 10 today. I like that one. Datadog. I was hoping this would pull back. It's been getting away from me and I haven't bought it yet, but it pulled back today. 1.5% with the market. The lighter volume. Datadog looks good to me. CHKP. Why did you write this down? Oh yeah, it just made a new high. That's all. Just showing strength. GWRE, I believe the same thing. Yeah. It's flat on the session, did make a new high. And then Team Atlassian had a real strong day, broke out of this cup-shaped pattern. No handle needed, just heading higher. And so that looks good as well. A couple of the construction plays that, are just showing strength, looking good. This is Comfort Systems Fix. Been highlighting this one for a long time, and it looks like it just wants to trend with its moving averages. Made a new high today. CARR. This is a spinoff as well. This is Carrier, and this is just kind of trading within a base here. So pull back to its 10 today. That one looks fine. LII, which is Linux, another one just respecting its moving averages, looking pretty good. LMB, another heating, air conditioning, just trending with the moving averages. And MOD, another HVAC, trending with the moving averages. In this same kind of construction vein here is Power. This one's had a big move, pulled back 2% today, but that one's shown a lot of strength recently. Then Sterling, this is on our ready list today. Not sure if anybody bought it, but it did show strength, closed near the lows of the session, like the indexes did. Yeah, the 28% of the closing of the daily range. So anyway, a couple other ones that I want to show. Nike's reporting earnings tomorrow, going to impact the shoe stocks. ONON, and this one pulled back to its 21 today. Definitely one to look for with the Nike report tomorrow. LULU has had a big, massive run, just kind of hanging there around the 500 level. But Nike's definitely going to impact these. And then Abercrombie and Fitch, of course, has just been a monster this year. So congrats to the longs there. I wanted to talk about selling, and selling, like I said, today is a day for, to learn about yourself, self-discovery. And I belong to some services where, they say buy XYZ at this price and then sell at this price. You don't learn anything about yourself. You're just following people into trades. And so I'm talking about self-discovery as like, what do you want from a stock or what do you want from the market? I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. Like I bought CrowdStrike at 160. This is what I'm talking about. The earlier you bought them before the big rally here, the easier it is to hold. So let's say you bought 100 shares at 160 bucks. So you spent 16 grand and then it ran up to 260. And so your 16 grand turned into 26 grand. So what you could do, what would be ideal, is just sell 10 grand and leave your initial principal in the game. Because if you want to have skin in the game, you think CrowdStrike is going to be a big winner, which I do, and you want to hold on to it and not just completely sell out and wait for this to form a base, because this very well could form a base and pull back to this gap here, which is about 210 area, 214. So that's I wouldn't say probable, but it's possible that it could do that. Do you have the personality to sit through that, or would that just kill you? Then if you're the type of person that can't sit through that, then you just sell, and say, hey, that was a good trade. I have turned 16,000 into 26,000 and I made 10 grand. I'm going to move on to the next trade. That's fine. Who are you as a trader? You have to know that. If you're the type of person who wants skin in the game, you think CrowdStrike's going to be the big winner, and in 3 years it's going to be much higher, and you're willing to sit through a base, that's fine too. You have to know that about yourself. And if you're the type that's going to just lament, if you sell the stock and it goes higher and you want to hang on to it, that's fine too. But like I said, self-discovery, you have to know who you are as a trader and be able to live with yourself. And you don't want to agonize over these decisions. It's this is a nice problem to have. I trim some because I'm expecting the market to pull back a little bit. And I feel guilty anytime a stock that I own goes up 20 to 25%. I just trim a little bit. I mean, you don't want to get too greedy here. Go buy your loved ones something nice. But those are the options that you have. Just sell, get rid of it, or hold the thing through the base, or trim some. Take that 10 grand off and let the 16 original principal run and see what happens with it. And you can always sell it later on if it crashes through all these moving averages and has lousy earnings, and people are taking market share from them. That's fine. So I just wanted to give that as an example. Now AMD is a different animal, because if you bought this here, let's say at 120, and let's say you bought 100 shares and it went up to 140, and you're going, okay, man, I made 2K on this, quick little trade. You could take it all off the table and say, I'm gonna take my 2 grand and go walk away. Or, you could just leave the principal in there, take your 2 grand, leave the rest on the table, your 12,000. Or you could just say, hey, I think AMD in 3 to 5 years is going to be, way higher than it is now. Then you could just say, hey, I'm gonna let my money work for me. So it's just all up to the individual. Like I said, if you bought this at 120 and it went to 140, now it's back down to 135, you're thinking, oh, I can't let a profit turn into a loss. But so you have to make those decisions, and you have to know who you are. To me, I bought AMD, it went up to 140. I did trim some today, but it's still at the 10, and it's I don't know, even if it comes back to this pivot area of 132.83, that's fine. What you don't want it to do is crash through these moving averages there and start heading lower towards the 50. Then it's no good. You got to, you can't let a profit turn into a loss. But so I don't use a stop because I'm watching it every day. If I was traveling or on vacation, I would just put a stop on it because I don't want it to I don't want to lose money on the trade. But if you're watching it every day, I like to allow them to, wiggle around a little bit. Anyway, like I mentioned, Micron up after hours. It was a pretty good report. The CEO was saying some real positive things. So it's up more than 4% after hours. So that's a good sign for tomorrow. I don't expect, big rally, heading into the new year, but I also don't expect the market to crash. So probably some stabilization. There will be some buying of the winners, selling of the losers. And anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.